has been one of Zambia's key cooperating partners in various areas of our economy and has contributed greatly to Zambia's development agenda. Your Excellency, Excellencies and Honorable Ministers, I must mention here today that India has not become Zambia's friend today. They were with us even before our independence, freedom was attained.
Our two nations have continued to strengthen our bilateral ties across various sectors. Since the time my predecessor addressed you from this podium last year, we have taken significant strides in our journey. In the same month, Messrs. Akum's Drugs signed an MOU with the government of Zambia to set up a medicines manufacturing plant in Zambia. In the same month, a team from Geological Survey of India visited Zambia to further strengthen our bilateral cooperation in the field of mining.
They airlift drill rigs into Zambia's copper belt. Indian geologists stake claims over 9,000 square kilometers that may hold untapped copper reserves. Sudden moves, secret deals, and global energy races are colliding in southern Africa. What just happened? Zambia, long dominated by Western mining powers, has quietly opened its doors to India. That shift may realign the global copper balance. India has sent a team of geologists to explore copper and cobalt in Zambia. Copper for construction and electronics, cobalt for batteries. But this is more than exploration. It's a signal that India wants control. And that's precisely what has the old powers watching. In this video, we'll peel back the layers, how this deal was brokered, how Zambia's minerals are now a strategic battlefield, and why India might emerge as the new copper king. Hang on, because the next move is already being written in underground seams. Copper is not just metal, it's the wiring of modern life, grids, EVs, renewable energy, telecom. The world needs more copper than ever. India, especially its push for solar, electrification, manufacturing makes it a voracious copper consumer. Zambia is Africa's second largest copper producer. The famed copper belt spans across northern Zambia, rich in ores and cobalt byproduct. Mines like Nachanga, owned under Konkola Copper Mines, are central. Yet over the past decades, Western and Chinese companies mostly controlled mining, exports, and profit flow. Zambia often sold raw ore with limited value addition locally. Now imagine, if India gains not just access, but stakes in exploration, leases, and smelting rights, then it controls the value chain from pit to product. But to understand this shift, we need to go back to how the New Deal emerged and why Zambia chose India now. In 2025, Zambia allocated 9,000 square kilometers for India to explore copper and cobalt deposits. This huge swath of land, roughly the size of Cyprus, marks one of the boldest mineral moves in African history. India dispatched geologists under a multi-year project, with plans to analyze samples in Indian labs, make site visits, and assess mining lease potential. If the findings are promising, India could ask for mining rights or invite private companies to partner locally. This arrangement is not just exploration, it's a foothold. Zambia has effectively opened a door that Europe once thought remained under its dominance. But this concession hasn't come easily. It's the product of negotiation, timing, and shifting power. What made Zambia open its copper fields to India and not double down on European or Chinese partners? Debt pressures and economic needs. Zambia has faced massive external debt and pressures to seek foreign investment. In 2024-25, India and China joined Zambia in restructuring debt. Opening new mineral deals becomes a bargaining chip. India's willingness to invest in infrastructure and local value addition may have sweetened the deal. Strategic diversification relying solely on Chinese or Western mining partnerships has proven risky. Zambia may see India as a counterbalance, less entangled in political strings from traditional powers. Shared development models. India presents a narrative of growth, infrastructure, and industrial tie-ins that may appeal to Zambia. Unlike some Western firms demanding strict control, Indian offers may promise more joint ventures, local capacity, and tech transfer. Timing in the global race. As the global demand for copper and battery minerals soars, countries with reserves are being courted. India didn't want to be left behind. Securing early access in Zambia gives India a strategic edge. These dynamics laid the groundwork. The next step, how India inserted itself into ownership and operational stakes. While the exploration is the first move, India has already extended its footprint. One major Indian player, Vedanta, owns 80% of Konkola Copper Mines. KCM. Zambia holds the remaining 20%. Vedanta is now planning to raise $1 billion in debt to expand its Zambian operations, including deeper projects, modernization, and increased output. Earlier controversies: Zambia's government had seized KCM in 2019 over alleged underinvestment. After a legal battle, Vedanta regained control by 2023, settling dues to revive operations. So India is not just exploring new ground, it is consolidating control over existing copper assets in Zambia. This dual strategy, new land plus existing mines, may signal a plan to dominate Eastern and Central Africa's copper future. But consolidation comes with risk and resistance. When a foreign power gains deep stakes in natural resources, tension follows. Environmental and community backlash in 2025, a dramatic collapse of a Chinese-owned copper tailings dam in Zambia released toxic waste into the Kafu River, contaminating water for millions. Critics say the disaster echoed neglect in mining oversight, raising questions about future operations under any foreign control. Local demand for transparency: Zambian civil society and miners demand that deals be open, royalties fair, and environmental protection enforced. There's pushback against foreign dominance without local benefit. Geopolitical pushback. European mining lobbies and Western governments may see India's rising influence as a threat to their historical grip. They could pressure Zambia diplomatically or offer competing bids. Market risk and price volatility: copper is subject to global cycles. India's exposure to Zambia means its fortunes are linked to commodity swings. If prices collapse, debts and investments become painful. Amid these pressures, how India and Zambia manage the balance of power will define the future of this copper empire. This deal is not just Zambia-India. It's a signal to the world. Shifting away from China for decades, China has dominated copper processing and smelting, but as India gains access to rawer and mines, it can challenge that dominance. Vertical integration path: if India secures mine access, builds smelters, processes or locally in Africa or in India, it's capturing value along the chain, not just buying raw metal. Strategic leverage: copper and cobalt are critical for green energy, electronics, defense. Access to those under your control is geopolitical muscle. Ripple effects in Africa. Other African nations will watch Zambia's deal closely. If India builds reputation as a fair partner, more countries may open deals with India over Europe or China. The rivalry with Europe historically claimed Africa's mining influence. This move marks a power shift. The old colonial alignments may be fading as new alliances take hold, and this is not the final act. The next decade could see India become a dominant mineral superpower. Zambia has just handed India a critical piece of its copper empire, not through haste, but by cumulative pressure, strategic negotiation, and global trends. India is no longer just a buyer. It's becoming a partner and possibly a stakeholder in Africa's deep earth. The consequences ripple from power grids to EVs, global trade, and geopolitical balances. When the lights turn on in your city or your phone battery holds longer, remember, some part of that future might depend on the deals being made beneath the African soil. Zambia may have opened a door. India is walking through and the world is watching. But here's the twist that almost no one is talking about. Copper isn't infinite. Zambia's copper belt, while vast, is already heavily mined. Some experts warn that without fresh technology, yields could decline within decades. That raises the question: is India walking into a golden age of supply, or a ticking clock that could run out faster than expected? And then comes cobalt, the hidden twin of copper. Found in many of the same deposits, cobalt is the lifeblood of modern batteries. While much of the world chases cobalt in the Democratic Republic of Congo, India's foothold in Zambia could open a second gateway. Imagine, instead of being just another buyer on the global market, India could emerge as a controller of supply lines critical for electric cars, smartphones, and renewable grids. But power invites rivalry. Western mining firms are lobbying harder, Chinese investors are not backing down, and Zambia itself is learning how to play partners against each other. So maybe the real story isn't whether India will control copper. It is whether Zambia has finally learned to turn its empire of copper into leverage strong enough to play all the giants off each other and come out winning.